and their first superintendent is a young boy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they look good.
Sean. Oh, he's Sean's age.
Yeah,
Hey, Sean.
yeah.
That's his case.
She's doing fine. She was real. Oh, she had this name right here.
He's not alone.
Hey, Miss Brown. Huh?
Down the Norman brought me out in the Justin.
Brother Bones. Yeah, how you been, man? I've been doing fine, so how you been doing?
We're doing fine. See you on the road. You traveling. You Northampton.
Yeah, this way.
I speak. But I couldn't hear it.
Oh, the volume on that is right over there. Look on the bottom, get sound.
Where?
On the table there.
Everybody's doing great.
Get a remote right there from?
All right, we'll be ready to get started in one moment. What are you trying to get?
Trying to get the sound.
Go through there.
Yeah. Mr. Brown.
Come on, Mr. Smith. Throw the sound in
Mr.
company.
Smith.
Siri. No, not yet. Let me put myself back on mute.
Okay, then I see this, the sound. But some way, somehow, we gotta get the computer.
Let's see it there. That's right, speak. Testing.
Miss Brown, Miss K. Brown, say something for me, please. Oh, okay. We're trying to get our volume to work. The audio, I mean, the voice not coming through. We got the picture
Right.
through the TV. How can we get that to come through there? Oh, that's me right here.
Somebody can help me because I don't know what about.
Unmute. Unmute your audio. But that's you, call.
Huh?
See, if you go to that audio, see, can you connect to the TV?
What's the?
That's right.
Okay, that's it.
It's not there.
Switch to phone speaker. Oh, so is that the Samsung? No, I'm saying, is that TV a Samsung?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Say something there, Miss Brown. Are you saying anything? Still don't hear.
That's the. No.
It's not,
There you go.
Okay.
you keep, we're going, so y'all could adjust.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You got it. You know, the live one.
What?
That's what's actually fun.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead. We heard you a few minutes ago. Speak again, Miss Brown.
Right, are you all able to hear me? I'm also outside, so I don't know if y'all can hear the little bit of background noise.
Yes, ma'am. We got you. Thank you. We got you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm going to call this meeting to order of the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group for July the 12th, 2025. At this time, we will have our opening prayer by Bishop Mallory.
Let us pray. Father, we turn about in the name of Jesus Christ. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your grace. We thank you, Lord, just for allowing us to make it here today safely. And Lord, as we come before you, Lord, for the purpose of handling this business that is set in our community, in our nation, and in our world, we pray, God, that you will give us favor, and Lord, that you will cause all these plans to be able to come to pass. In Jesus' name we pray. And everybody said,
Amen.
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 At this time, following the agenda, we will have our welcome to Washington County by our county commissioner, Rep. Julius Walker.
Good morning.
good morning.
The President of East North Carolina Civic Group, Mr. Wesley Stokes. First Vice President Carl Bond. Second Vice President Moses Matthews. Third Vice President Vanessa Smith. And to the Secretary, Ms. Betty Selby. Assistant Secretary Janet Shaw. Treasurer Mavis Hill. And Chaplain Reverend Roy Gray, to all the counties represented here today. It is indeed a pleasure to take this opportunity to welcome you this morning to this organization. Life affords us many memories of happiness. And today, this meeting has afforded me honor and opportunity to welcome you to Roper, North Carolina for a very, very special meeting. I am sure since being here, you have met
Recording in
new
progress.
friends and new acquaintances. Okay, new acquaintances. And I say to you today that your presence here today is definitely appreciated, because today we have assembled in this African American Museum. Owners are Mr. Albert Brown and Mrs. Rosa Brown, who is here today. And when I think about this organization, many years ago, they used to meet over at the Baptist church over here. At that time, I was a young man. And as I reflect, as you walk around here today, you will see many of those pillars who made this organization what it is today. The Honorable E.V. Wilkins, a visionary man and leader, was one of the men who was definitely responsible for this organization. Mr. Wilkins would go 50 miles for a 30-minute meeting, political meeting. That's how involved he was. So I say to you today that you're welcome to Roper and to Washington County. And believe it or not, you're in one of the best places in Washington County, Roper, North Carolina.
All right. All
And
right.
on behalf of all the county commissioners, I greet and welcome you today, which I consider to this historic day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Walker. And he's right, Roper is one of the best places to be. We will have also welcoming us to the museum. I'm going to ask Ms. Brown if she would just say a word. She's going to fuss me out, but Ms. Brown, we could not use your facility without acknowledging you.
Welcome to Washington African American Museum. The bathrooms are on the north of this door and they're on the right. And if you need anything that I can accommodate you with, just ask. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. Thank you so much. Now, if you will allow me, we will deviate from the agenda. We have Congressman Davis online with us, and we have asked him to give us some knowledge on the big ugly bill. We want him to know that we appreciate his vote on the bill, that he was against it, because it is going to hurt not only our country, specifically North Carolina, and specifically small rural counties like in most of the counties that's in the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group. So at this time, we're going to ask Congressman Davis to give us an update on the bill.
This meeting is being recorded.
Congressman Davis.
Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing wonderful today. I wish I could be with you in the wonderful community town of Roper. And I want to, first say, Commissioner Walker, I really appreciate that introduction there. A reminder, a wonderful reminder of the shoulders that we're standing on of brother, our amazing leader, person who worked so hard, Evie Wilkins. And to Ms. Brown, thank you so much for your diligence to the museum. I've been there. You're doing amazing work at the museum. And I'm glad that we're able to be a part of that work today as we assemble the Eastern Civic Group. To the Eastern Civic Group, let me say to you, I really appreciate all the work, your commitment to all of the officers, and especially to your president, Brother Stokes. We thank you for all that you do and continue to do. This is a very important organization that has worked tremendously and diligently over the years, bringing in collaborative effort with counties across Eastern North Carolina, Northeastern North Carolina, and we have continued to reap the benefits through our unity. And I would say to everybody, our strength is indeed our unity. So to the Eastern Civic Group, I'm not a stranger to the Eastern Civic Group. I spent many years rolling up the sleeves, working with the Eastern Civic Group. It's harder to make all of the meetings now, but nevertheless, I'm truly delighted to be able to be with you today. I want to talk about this bill, H.R. 1, that the president named one big, beautiful bill. I can tell you that this is the president's major signature legislation. And what I want to do is at least try to outline with the time we have together today, many of the major components of the bill. And I want to be clear that I have great concerns about this bill. And right now, I'm in Northampton County, by the way. They're having the second annual Liberation Day here in Northampton County, and truly honored to be able to be here in Northampton County. Also, I see Erica that's on as well. Always give you a big shout out. Good to see you on. And to everybody that's there that I just can't see today, I would be remiss not to recognize, and especially our elected officials who are stepping today. This one big, beautiful bill, the law represents, again, the president's signature, legislative package. It carries wide-ranging implications for families, farmers, veterans, students, working people across Eastern North Carolina. Speaking broadly, HR 1 prioritizes, to be clear, tax cuts. But we have to understand who will benefit the most from those tax cuts. And we have to be very clear about this. Disproportionately, the tax cuts, now they are going to help some working families, but disproportionately, to be clear, they're helping the top 1%, the wealthiest in this country, in Washington, D.C. insiders. The bill, I want to start by just raising this. It increases the deficit by $3.3 trillion over 10 years. That's not me, that's how the bill was scored. And many still continue to push back on those numbers, but let's be clear, it adds to a deficit of 3.3 trillion. And not only that, but it actually lifts the debt ceiling by $5 trillion to push it back past 2026 midterm elections. Now, I start there because this very significant, and especially as conservatives have over the years pushed back against the debt ceiling increase. Some have faithfully voted against lifting the debt ceiling, as well as adding to the deficit. And you see at the top of this that you're doing both. But yet, so many showed up to vote for this bill. And let's be clear, you have seen, for instance, Senator Tom Tillis, who expressed concern about this. He even voted against it on the Senate side with Rand Paul. So this bill received bipartisan opposition. And the only way it passed the Senate was by the vice president getting involved, J.D. Vance, and actually taking it over the top, being the 51st vote. On the House side, again, there were Republicans that defected and voted against this bill. And I truly believe if many had the opportunity, others, to vote against it, they even more would have voted against it if they truly felt their convictions to be held true. But let's jump into this bill. It again adds 3.3 trillion to the deficit. It lifts the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. HR 1 expands the 2017 tax cuts. Matter of fact, they make them permanent. They lower the income tax rates to stay in place. And I'm going to give you kind of there are some components that we would broadly support, but overwhelmingly, there are many components that we don't support in this. And at the end of the day, for me, I'm really concerned about how working families, the average everyday person is going to be impacted by this HR 1 bill that the president calls big and beautiful. So there's an estate tax exemption that's a component of it. It increases it by $15 million. It includes new tax breaks, allowing individuals to deduct up to $25,000 for tips. This is something we've heard a whole lot of talk around. So there is basically relieving the taxes on the tips and overtime pay up to $12,500. But I want to be clear on this, and this is something that we have to understand. This sounds good on the surface, and actually this is something we can support, generally speaking. But when we talk about the way this was done, actually it is set to expire which shows a lot of the intention here. It expires in 2028. So the difference that you see here and versus many of those in our caucus, we support essentially relieving the taxes on the tips, making those permanent versus setting them to expire. And that's a major policy difference here. Also, it authorized auto loan increase deduction for those United States built cars. Moving on, I mean, there is an increase in the child tax credit. Like I said, there are some good components of it. But then when we start looking, for instance, at the environment, energy and environmental concerns exist. Overall, it rolls back clean energy credits from the Inflation Reduction Act. At the same time, it keeps nuclear, hydro, geothermal credits in place. It imposes new taxes on wind and solar companies, and especially from foreign countries. And lastly, it expands in particular fossil fuel development and cancels methane emission fees. Essentially, we're beginning to see the rollback of many positive environmental provisions that have been rolled out. Regarding immigration and the border, one of the things that you'll see here is the administration pushing their immigration and border stance. HR 1 allocates $132.6 billion for Homeland Security over the next 10 years, which includes $46.6 billion for building a wall. Also, part of those funds are going towards detention centers, patrol vehicles, and new agents. HR 1 also creates this new state border security reinforcement fund. And what this is a fund that traditionally hadn't been in place that's geared towards helping those that states along the border with the infrastructure. At the same time, it imposes fees on immigration. $5,000 fee will be imposed for illegal border crossings. And also, I would shift and get into a major concern with this bill that many of us have heard about, and it's huge. It is majorly important for us in Eastern North Carolina, and that's dealing with Medicaid and health care. When we talk about HR 1, it cuts $1 trillion over 10 years from Medicaid. At the same time, it puts in place new restrictions. It includes work requirements for able-bodied adults nationwide, starting at 2027, interestingly. Tighter income and asset rules are put in place, and also an increased frequency of redeterminations. In other words, what we're doing is increasing an administrative process for that people are going to have to now go through. But it's not only the burden that's been created from those having to go through added processes, it's also the added work, the additional work, and lack of funds to help with the manpower that's going to be needed to execute these provisions. I can tell you, was in Hereford County Thursday, and there are great concerns. I went and met with the Department of Social Services. There are a whole lot of concerns right now about how this will be indeed implemented. Also, our hospitals are at risk, and it includes what they did when they were moving from the Senate. They went back and restored some of the money, but it's still about $8 billion short from where we need, and it still is going to put rural hospitals at risk. In North Carolina, we're talking potentially 4 rural hospitals Some of you've seen, and matter of fact, Mo, you were there. Moses, when we came out Port of Stabilization funds, that's going to be really helpful. We filed a bill that would help with stabilizing fund for Martin General Hospital. And long story short, this puts at risk the effort that we've been undergoing in Martin County. The commissioners and the community have been working tirelessly on to reopen Martin General. I'm saying this to say that we're going to continue to push forward because we're not going to give up and give in on this. And I just want to put the perspective on this when we talk about Martin General Hospital reopening. Martin General Hospital, I truly believe, never had to close. It closed, as Senator Smith knows, we were up there in Raleigh fighting year in and year out trying to expand Medicaid. And after over a decade, North Carolina finally expanded Medicaid. If we had expanded Medicaid sooner, arguably, we may not be in the position with Martin General right now as we speak. However, we are here, and there is what's called a rural emergency hospital designation that has been put in place. And essentially, what we're doing now is trying to reopen the hospital under this special designation that's called a rural emergency hospital. Now, when we, because I'm going to still speak positive, and we're still working tirelessly on this, when we reopen Martin General, it will be the first hospital in this nation that closed that under the rural emergency hospital designation that would reopen. So we're not giving up. We're in this for the long haul. Again, this was part of even what Phyllis was talking about. You know, he was concerned and expressed concern about the impact on Medicaid. Now, for it to get it to the point that even Tom Tillis is expressing concern, I mean, you see and understand what we're dealing with here. And nevertheless, you know, when we talk about Medicaid in particular, between Medicaid in particular, when we get into the SNAP program, what you're seeing is unfunded mandates that are sent back to the state of North Carolina. You can't make this up to my brothers and sisters. We're sitting in this meeting today. I remember sitting in the meeting in Washington, D.C., and they said, oh, there's all this money sitting in the state. The states are sitting on all this money. Well, I want to be clear. There's not, to my knowledge, all this money that's just sitting around in the state of North Carolina that's not, you know, being spent. And I want to, if I could, just bring some brief perspective on this. Hurricane Helene. I know a lot of us have witnessed what is taking place in Central Texas. My heart goes out to Central Texas, and actually, we've had even more occurrences here in North Carolina since Central Texas. And so we're still dealing with our own issues right here in North Carolina. But Hurricane Helene alone has a price tag of $60 billion, 60 with a B. When we actually voted in December to extend the continuing resolution, known as a CR, basically keeping the government running at the bare bones, there were special dollars that were put in place to help deal with disaster, and North Carolina's portion of that is roughly about $20 billion or so. The state of North Carolina then, they've come and put some money into that. But the point that I want to make here to put the perspective on this, there's still a big hole that's left just dealing with Helene. I mean, you could almost, when you put about $30 billion in perspective, that's roughly almost what it costs to run the state of North Carolina. So I'm not aware of all the money that's just sitting here in North Carolina. And part of a concern with all of these unfunded mandates that you'll see along the way is now it puts it back into play at the North Carolina General Assembly. Some of these access to some of these programs. And obviously, we've been down the road. Some of us know this, has been in this for some time. The counties, they were in the business of Medicaid before, but we realized fundamentally that was a failure, that was a disaster. That's why the state took Medicaid back over. So if the state's not stepping up to the plate on some of this, it potentially places this back to the county. And it's not just the unfunded mandates and the dollars that are missing, but also the cost of administering these new policies that I believe are really important. And the last thing I'll highlight here that's at threat, at risk. After all the work that we did, and I'm just saying, you got to call it as it is. Senator Smith, we were up there fighting a good fight. And after all of the years, North Carolina finally expanded Medicaid, and I want to put that perspective before you. For Eastern North Carolina, about a 29 county healthcare network, you're talking about another 95,000 individuals in Eastern North Carolina who now, once it's built out, would have access to being able to see a healthcare provider. About 95,000. When you build it up to the 95,000, you can't actually deliver the care to another 95,000 people without a lot of infrastructure and supply chains and so forth that you have to build out. So when you build it out, there's about another 3,000 jobs that would come into Eastern North Carolina alone in our healthcare network. All of this is at risk right now. All of this is at risk. Let me move on and talk about nutrition, the SNAP program. Essentially, what it's doing is putting into effect work requirements, raising the age for mandatory work to 65, tightening the rules, the waivers, and above all, is sending a gigantic unfunded mandate to the state of North Carolina in the magnitude of $441 million potentially per year. And then you add another $118 million to administer the program. And on top of that, potentially up to another $118 million for counties to have to administer this program. So there's a lot that's taking place. There's a lot that's packed into this bill that I don't know that beautiful for everybody. Matter of fact, to me, it becomes even more challenging. You know, when you talk about $120 billion being removed out of the program, and then let's shift and talk about education for a second. To me, one of the most egregious parts of this bill, and I just want to be candid with you, I served our country in the United States Air Force. Part of what brought me back home to Eastern North Carolina was being able to serve at East Carolina University, Detachment 600, the Air Force ROTC program, as an assistant professor for aerospace studies. Well, put a note, and this is after one big beautiful bill. The Army has announced, by the way, that they want to get rid of the Army ROTC program at Elizabeth City State University. But now, a whole other thing I want to really bring attention to, which I have now dedicated over almost 20 years of my life to education, and that is a $10 billion cut in Pell Grants. That should be very troubling, and the reason being is my grandmother, who raised me, shared with me how important an education was. Now, she had only graduated from high school, but she wanted her children to go to college. She said my mom had been at college. My aunt went to Elizabeth City State University. I'm second generation in my family to even go to college. And where I'm heading with all of this, education is the pipeline to good paying jobs. Education in every single study that's been done is correlated to higher salaries and wealth. And what we're talking about here is for students, okay, students who are trying to make their way through school. You're pulling the hands out of them and placing a higher education out of reach for them. To me, that is really, really egregious. And it goes against everything we're working to do here in the East. We already know the challenges that we're living with Leandro. It dates back to the mid-90s. This is not Don Davis. This is the state Supreme Court of the Supreme Court of the state has said that we're not affording our kids the right to a sound basic education. They've not gotten the resources that they've needed. This dates back to the mid-90s, and it's 2025, and we're still dealing with this today. We're still dealing with it. So, my friends, I'm going to say this. We have to continue to advocate for our kids, and I don't know of a better way to help our kids to live the American dream. In Eastern North Carolina, and not lead to feel they have to go to Raleigh or Durham or to Charlotte to leave the state altogether. But this is directly linked to that pathway. It's how we keep our kids in Eastern North Carolina and take them from students to young professionals with good paying jobs. So there are caps that are now put in place for students who are borrowing money for school, for professional students. So there's a lot of, I believe, just really egregious measures and steps that have been taken here. Now, I want to shift gears. As I've served our country in the United States Air Force, as an Air Force veteran, looking at the defense provisions, there in the defense portion of H.R. 1 was an increase in spending of $158.6 billion. Now, one part of this that even work to try to address, which is important for us in Eastern North Carolina, is dealing with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. The relevance of this, there were past efforts to close down 2 squadrons eventually at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. To put perspective on this, you close 1 squadron down, that's about 520 jobs. Close 2, you're talking about over 1,000 jobs that are cut from Eastern North Carolina. So we were able to push back successfully against closing those squadrons. However, we've neglected, meanwhile, the maintenance that we're doing on those aircraft, the F-15E aircraft. So it includes about $127 million that could go towards the maintenance of those aircraft. Another thing that I would really speak towards, there are funds that go towards shipbuilding. This becomes important for us. Why do we talk about this? So I'm on the Armed Services Committee, and what we know, this is just the truth, it's a fact. China is outpacing us in a mighty way. We're so far behind when it comes to shipbuilding and submarine building. At the same time, we're therefore looking to increase our efforts, and especially around Newport News, Virginia, which right there is bordering North Carolina, the 1st Congressional District. We already know that about 1,100 North Carolinians, many in northeastern North Carolina, are already working in the shipyard. So what we're trying to do is continue to cultivate that pipeline, working with community college presidents, and as well as workforce representatives to cultivate the pipeline so that we can make sure that North Carolina, because this is what we know, this is what Virginia is telling us. They don't have the capacity to do all of this. So they're actually reaching out too. I would love to see it directly in North Carolina, but at the end of the day, We're just fighting to make sure that there are good paying jobs available, and especially for us in Northeast, Eastern North Carolina, NC1. And the reason I say this too, again, to put perspective on all of this, first congressional district, it fluctuates. But when you look at economically distressed congressional districts, we typically rank somewhere between about 418 and 420 as the most economically distressed in the nation. So we have to do things to bring jobs into our communities, to bring real opportunities. And I say it this way, we have to put the American dream back in reach for young people, for our kids, for our grandkids, your great-grandchildren. They should be able to get a good education. They should be able to have a good paying job. They should have a home, a place they can call home. They can lay their head. They should be able to continue to work. And by the way, because they're working, let's be clear that Social Security is not an entitlement. Social Security is an earned benefit that you're paying into. So they should be able to work, raise children, and once they retire, be able to live comfortably and knowing that Social Security is there. There's a lot here that's packed into all of this. And I just wanted to take the time to give a big picture, an overview of what's in HR 1. I also want to put some perspective. There are television ads that you see out there, and they're already attacking me. They're attacking me. They're saying, hear this, that Don Davis supports the highest tax increase in American history. That's what they're saying. And what I want to say towards that is I'll show up any day, because the logic that they're using is because I did not vote for this bill, HR 1, one big beautiful bill, that therefore there are no other options that will be made available, and therefore the tax cuts will expire, resulting in the greatest tax increase in American history. And the truth being known is all we have to do is show up and do our work, do our jobs. And when we do that and do it in a real genuine way, where we're able to show up, and like I said, I'm being clear, there was bipartisan opposition to this bill. And you look at all the polling across sectors shows that this bill is unfavorable. And now they're trying to do everything to convince you that this is good for you, your family, and for the American people, and for rural America, and that's just not the case. Matter of fact, I've said this, I've said it to the media, some of my colleagues say, this is benefiting billionaires. Okay, it's benefiting billionaires. Well, I looked up to see how many billionaires in Eastern North Carolina we have to benefit from this. We don't even have the billionaires to benefit from this. That's how bad this is. So thank you so much for allowing me to take the time today. I just looked at the time. I'm way over time where I think I should be I'm on program to speak, and I wish I could take questions, but Brother Stokes, maybe if you can gather the questions and get them to me, I'll be more than willing to do that. Thank you so much, Erica. We always appreciate you. You know that.
Congressman, we thank you so much. We were told we could have you for 10 minutes. We had you for 30. So thank you so much for that.
I might be throwing somebody else off schedule right now, but Erica, we're enjoying Liberation Day in Northampton County today. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all.
All right, you have a
Thank you so much.
Good to see you. All right. Take care, y'all. Good to see you.
You just got a wealth of information with Congressman Davis. Now we are going to try to get him back in September. And my goal is since this bill has passed, we can't, we can't just sit back and cry about it. In September, I hope to have some people from the health arena, the health field, to talk to us about, okay, it's passed. So what now? Because we got to start planning. Now, some of these cuts they say won't start occurring until 2027, but we got to start getting prepared, folks, because it is going to be a hardship on our people. So, but again, I want to thank the congressman for being with us. Is Kay pressed for time as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, allow me to deviate from the agenda, and we've not voted on the agenda anyway, so I can move it around like I want right now. Okay, so Betty Selby, I'm going to ask you if you would present our next presenter, Kay Brown.
It's my pleasure to introduce Kay Brown today. Kay is a seasoned organizer and operations strategist with a strong background in political education, voter engagement, and community organizing. As the organizing director at Advanced Carolina, she leads statewide initiatives to mobilize communities, protect voting rights, and develop long-term civic engagement strategies. With over a decade of experience in operation and leadership, Kay has successfully expanded organizations, built sustainable community programs, and tripled output in key initiatives. She cross-department workflows supported national organizing efforts and streamlined client and contract administration. Beyond her organizing work, Kay is dedicated community advocate and serves on the boards of Jalapa Vote Rights Services, and Kay, you can correct me with that, and Interactive Resource Center, furthering her commitment to social impact and economic justice. Kay has been recognized for her leadership and contribution to social justice, including receiving the Keeper of the Flame Award from the International Civil Rights Museum. Her work centers on building power in marginalized communities, bridging the gap between activism and policy, and developing the next generation of civic leaders. I present to the Civic group, and she is not a stranger to us. She, or Dr. Javita Lee, who's the policy director for Black Alliance, joins us at our every meeting to bring us an update. And Kay, I present to you Eastern North Carolina Civic Group members and friends, and she's my boss.
Thank you so much. And I hope everybody can hear me. I am also on the road today, so I'm giving y'all love and greetings from Charlotte, North Carolina. Jovita, Dr. V, could be here today because she is on the road in Chicago doing some work for the program team and presenting work that we do here in North Carolina. So, Miss Betty, I do have a slide deck. Do you just want me to share my screen or do you want me to send it to you?
No, share the screen.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Yeah, share the screen.
Okay.
Oh, I'm on mute. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Oh yeah, I can hear you a lot better now. Okay. You have it? You have a slide deck? Let's share.
Hold on. I just turned on share.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'll be able to share it?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, Miss Betty. I think it has just you sharing the screen, so it won't let me share it.
Okay.
Betty, you have to give her permission.
Give her permission.
I did.
Go down.
Yeah, and I did send you the slide deck too, Miss Betty, in case you wanted to, if you wanted to share it too.
Go down to the share button, Betty.
She said so.
She got it.
She should have it now.
I don't know yet. Your screen is black, but it still has you sharing it. You got to do it on your Zoom, the bottom of the Zoom part.
Click
Then not just the
click the share button, baby.
But Miss Betty, if you go into your email, I'll send it to you too.
If you click the share button,
I did.
click it, and then it'll ask you, do you want to allow anyone else?
And I put live. Maybe I'm missing something.
It still has you sharing the screen from your Zoom.
Okay, somebody come over here a minute. Push share.
Hit share.
You didn't touch it though. She didn't touch it.
I ain't seen it.
Get out of there.
Click on it.
Get out of share. She's not sharing that with you.
See him clicking on it. Okay.
It's not. Yeah.
It's yours. But you get out of it. Okay.
Yeah, click on it.
Here, share. You don't have the other Aaron is saying that someone else.
Maybe she needs to close
And
her
I'm sorry, I
share.
could help, but I do not know how to work a Mac.
Me neither.
But Miss Betty, if you do want to share it, like you could just share the slide deck and I could go through it. If you are, because I see you already sharing screen.
Person have the up and down arrow key where you can share that.
Did she close her screen?
Like, that's what I think. That's what we do to and then you down to share.
Yes.
They do it like that.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
So she got it now.
Okay. There it goes.
She's got it.
Okay. Can y'all see me now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So before she left, I asked Dr. Lee, I said, now I know that you have spent a lot of time in the building. We did a rundown and I asked her for some updates. And then I'll have some things for you all at the end so that you can know what some of the calls to actions may be. Because Mr. President, you are right. This is the time where we cannot not do something. So highlights. If you all remember, we spoke about House Bill 171, which is basically a prohibition on all things DEI. Well, that passed and it was vetoed. So when people say that they don't know if their vote matters or, consequences for elections, are what it is or is what it is, or that, well, Republicans have everything, so we can't show up and it's not going to, that's all well and good, but we got the veto. Now what we're working on with some of these bills is how do we sustain that veto power, which we did win in the last election. Next up, we had a lot of pretty difficult things pass. The DEI, the elimination of DEI in higher education did pass. As you all know, this is going to have some pretty detrimental consequences for our universities in North Carolina. We have the largest amount of HBCUs in the state of North Carolina. So this is going to be something that we know is going to put a lot of our institutions under attack. It was vetoed, though. Sorry. Take it away. All right. Senate Bill 153. It did pass, and it was also vetoed. So if y'all see Governor Stein, make sure y'all give him a big hug because a lot of these did get vetoed coming out of state legislature. So basically what is going to happen is that the Department of Public Safety, the Department of Adult Correction, the State Highway Patrol, and the SBI is going to be required to now cooperate with ICE. One of the things that a lot of our people in different areas around the state of North Carolina have been able to do is kind of hold back on some of the problematic things that have been coming up out of this administration and coming up out of ICE, which is basically they're just pulling people off the streets and pulling people wherever they can. But it's actually been a lot of the local leaders that have been able to kind of hold the line. And a lot of our state institutions have been able to hold the line based on law and legality. So this is the state legislature's way of combating against that, but that was vetoed. House Bill 318. The bill is going to double the time that undocumented immigrants can be held in state jails and require sheriffs to cooperate with ICE ahead of release. One of the things that in my organizing statewide that we have been working on is how can we get allies to the immigrant communities, and also how can we be supportive of these specifically Black sheriffs that have been holding the line against some of the problematic things that have been coming out of the Trump administration. And also that's in regards to you can't just come in and just pick people up. People do have rights that the administration has been violating, but this has been vetoed, and we've been doing our best to give additional support to our Black sheriffs across the state who have not been breaking the law to coordinate with ICE. So I won't go over a lot with the big beautiful bill because Dante, this has been a lot with that. But by our calculations, we may have 5 rural hospital closures. And that's after the decades of things that have already been closed. I think one of the biggest things that I'll talk about the consequence of what we're going to see on the streets. The same thing that I did with some of the other times that I visited here. As organizers and leaders in community, one of the things that's going to happen is that the people who have not been paying attention, or the people who know that things are bad but doesn't understand how it's going to be bad for them, are going to start being impacted, and we're going to start seeing crime rates go up in some of our counties. We're going to start to see people get sick, get released from hospitals, be down the streets. We're going to start to see more people who are homeless, more people who are hungry, more people who are being evicted. And we are going to have to figure out what some of the local answers to these things are going to be, with the understanding that we have a hostile state legislature. So right now, one of the biggest things that I can say is, for your elected officials that are in the state legislature, doing all that you can to make sure that they are holding the line with the governor to make sure that these things do not pass, that we talked about with veto, but also making sure that the financial consequences that's going to come with this big ridiculous bill, that the solutions that we have locally, that the state legislature is not attacking some of you all who are governing in municipalities and stopping you from being able to come up with the solutions that you need in order to be able to support your community. So I know that Congressman Davis talked a lot again about this bill, but I don't want to just address the environmental health concerns. I also want to reiterate, this was also a jobs program that came from the Biden administration with some of the things that we had around environmental protections, funding, things like that. So I think that in a lot of respects, we are going to have to be prepared for a lot of those professional folks that have not been able to get jobs, may not be able to go to some of the cities and municipalities, because a lot of the cities and municipalities, as I travel across the state, are experiencing some of the same things at the same times that you all are going to be experiencing out east. And I'm going to be honest, it may get a little rough. So some of the things that we are doing is going to be on July the 21st at 5 o'clock. We're going to have a Sustain the Veto rally in Raleigh at Freedom Park. So everybody that can make it, we would love to see you. That's going to be led by the Black Youth Brown Policy Network, which is facilitated by Dr. Jovita Lee. And on July the 28th at 5:30, We're going to have a virtual town hall specifically on this big, beautiful bill and digging into specifically what it's going to mean for Black communities and specifically what it's going to mean for us in the state of North Carolina, especially in combination with what our state legislature is doing, right? So there's the harm that's going to happen because we know that right now a lot of our school districts are struggling to figure out how they're going to close budget gaps. A lot of our county commissions are trying to figure out where they've already had to put additional funding into education. Now that more has been cut from the federal government, what do we do? And if I'm being honest, a lot of the protections that came for our students that had IEPs, racial discrimination, queer LGBTQ rights, gender discrimination, etc., it wasn't just out of love that some of our school districts weren't discriminating. It was really because money tied to the federal government also prevented some of those things from happening. So we are going to be back in something that's going to be familiar, unfortunately, for a lot of us in the space. But if I'm being honest, we're new organizers coming into the space, and for people who may have their kids in school right now, you know, that are in their 30s and 40s, they may not really understand fully how bad it may get in public schools. And also, if English is your second language, or again, if you have an IEP, a lot of the funding tied to that, even coming out of the state legislature and coming also out of the federal government, it's just not going to trickle down into the counties the way that it should. So we're going to be unpacking some of those things, and we're going to have a lot of space for people to be able to ask questions. Again, you know, I typically spend my time in policy thinking about, well, what are we going to do about it? And what can we do around the next election to make sure that we're not in this space again? Dr. Lee is going to be working on specifically helping us unpack what logistically these consequences are going to mean, and to also think about with some of our elected officials, how do we strategize to get past that? I try not to take up too much time today. And again, it's not all doom and gloom. In a lot of states, especially red states, we know that typically they're getting more from the federal government than what they're putting out. So I think we're also in that space. And I don't know that our state legislature is, well, I do know that the state legislature is not going to be making up the difference for what we're not. But I will say that the exception to North Carolina that other red states don't have is that during our last election cycles, we did not give one party a clean sweep. So that means that we do still have some mechanisms and tools to fight. We are going to be out during the municipal elections talking to voters. We're going to be out in the primaries in 2026 talking to voters. And we're going to be out in the general election talking to voters. We're going to be doing some neighborhood walk and talks, helping to explain to different generations of folks civically what is going on, and how the impacts of civics is playing a part in what their community looks like, feels like, and what they're experiencing. So there's going to be a lot that we're going to do to combat this. A lot of the work that many organizations, including ours and the Civic group, has done over the past, I want to say 6 months to a year to give accountability to Tom Tillis, it works. So when people say that organizing doesn't work, calling doesn't work, showing up to the offices doesn't work, pulling up on them when they're eating, wherever with their families doesn't work, it actually does. And so now that Tom Tillis is out, we're going to have to figure out what the next level of strategy of that is going to be. So I just want to mention that in the state of North Carolina, we're one of the few states that is still getting some kind of wins and is still being able to hold the line in some respects against what's happening. And I will pause there. See if anybody has any questions or anything for me.
Any questions? Okay, we don't have any. Betty.
Didn't hear any questions. But Miss Betty can share out my number of contact information. You know, anytime you all need me, and I do plan on doing more visits in person with you all, so that I can, you know, bring this and some of the energy. And also, y'all, my son just had so much fun the last time. He was eating all the stuff. He's sitting in the front row, and I'm going to make sure I bring him back.
have enjoyed you, and anytime you have anything, we encourage to bring Rose back.
Ask her to send us that.
Okay,
Thank y'all so much.
Okay, would you please email me that presentation so I can email it out to you? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And then we also will send out flyers, especially for the one that's unpacking that big, beautiful bill, because we want everybody to be able to really ask some really in-depth questions of policy folks, elected officials, and we may be able to get the budget and tax center in space for it.
Okay, and I will email that out to the group. So as soon as I get that flyer, July 8th, I'll send it out. And if you have not put your email on the list that Mr. Matthews had, I won't be able to email it. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
I do want to thank Kay for that presentation. I'll tell you what, Kay helped me out because after this last election, it was like, man, we will never, with the way gerrymandering is, we will never be able to elect Democrat officials in our area. But Kay is the one, she's an optimist. And what Kay said is the plan is we held in 2024 with Justice Riggs being on the Supreme Court. We kept her. The goal now is in 2026 to keep Anita Earls on the Supreme Court. Now, Anita Earls is going to be our guest speaker next month at our scholarship banquet. So if you have not gotten a ticket to that, we encourage you to get a ticket to that. So if we can get Anita Earls to retain her seat in 2026, and then in 2028, 3 Democratic Supreme Court judges are up for re-election. Three seats are going to be up that are held by Republicans now. If the Democrats can win those 3 seats, and then with Anita, Justice Earls, and Justice Riggs up there, the census takes place in 2030. So with the Democratic Party Supreme Court, they're going to say that the way that they have gerrymandered our state is illegal. And then they're going to have to go back and redraw the district lines. And it won't be based on race. Because what the Republicans have done is they have carved out areas to make sure that even though they are the minority, they will have the majority of elected officials. So when Kate broke that down to me, it was like, okay, there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. But we've got to work to make sure we win in 26 and in 28. So we will now go back to the agenda. So, Madam Secretary, would you have roll call, please?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, unless somebody's missing,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doris, okay, just call them out. She's
Miss Smith, Miss Wilson from Rotate.
okay. So what counties do you have present, Madam Secretary?
Assistant Secretary Sharp's gonna call. So you just want to.
Just the ones that you think are here.
We have Martin County here, we have Washington County here, we have Clemens County here.
We have Paquemins?
Yes.
Okay.
We have Dare. We have Northampton. We have Bertie. Edgecombe. Do we have Pitt? Yeah, we're from
Is someone from Pitt here?
Las Vegas here, okay.
Yeah, Erica.
That's Northampton.
Yeah.
Erica's Northampton.
Mr. Wilson, what county are you from?
Oh, Miss Wilson, Bertie.
Okay,
Rotate.
okay.
We have, according to my count, 7 counties present.
Correct.
Okay, all right. The chair will accept a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay.
Is there a motion? Okay, Betty,
Go ahead and make the motion, I say.
okay, all right. Question. All those in favor of the motion, aye. Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you. All right. Our minutes from our last meeting. Is that Secretary Sharp or Secretary Selby?
I wait the minutes for last week.
Okay. We'll waiver that. We'll get back with that. All right. Can you pull up
I'm trying to pull that up.
Chairman remarks? All of you may know about the change in the Board of Elections that occurred a couple of weeks ago. The North Carolina General Assembly, back in November after the election, when they saw that we had a Democratic governor, a Democratic lieutenant governor, a Democratic state superintendent, they decided to call a special session of the legislature. They also knew after the election that they had lost the ability to override the governor's veto. So what they did is they called a special session in November after the election to change the law. And because they knew they had won the state auditor's position, they said, we are going to give the state auditor control over the Board of Elections, over elections, period. Now, since 1901 to 2024, that control was always under the governor's authority. And if the governor were a Republican, it would always be 3 board members and 2 Democrats. Governor a Democrat, it would switch over. So they changed it because they did not have the governorship anymore. And I think they know they won't get it in a while, that they changed it to and gave it to the highest representative in our Council of State that was a Republican, which is the state auditor. Now, when that originally occurred, I'm gonna be honest. I felt like the Democratic Party had let Jessica Holmes down because Jessica Holmes was a young black lady that was the state auditor and ran for re-election and lost. But then I realized now it didn't matter if Jessica had won. They just would have gone down and picked the insurance, commissioner of insurance,
Right.
and made them over in charge of the elections. So that really didn't matter. So in all of our counties now, it has flipped over to, because that Republican state auditor said we want a Republican as chair. So all of the county boards now have flip-flopped to 3 Republicans on your local board and 2 Democrats. Here we had to make a tough decision because here we had, representing the Democratic Party, we had a black and a white, and our chair was black. And of course, you know, the Republicans just had 2 whites. And now with them having the chair, they got 3 whites. And it was, what do we do? Do we go 1 black, 1 white and let it be 4 whites and 1 black? Or do we go 2 black. And here, as I found out last night in Bertie, that they went with the 2 black members. So I don't know how your county makeup is. Mr. Smith, what's yours?
What we did, what has been done is, I have a meeting scheduled next week with the, director of Board of Election because I'm not pleased with what the process that took place. But, the chairperson is gonna be a white female, and then they have, 2 white Republicans, and then we got 2 black Democrats. But what took place was that I had to submit names for recommendation to the board, right? And so did the Republican Party. But what happened was the chairman of the Republican Party of Northampton County stepped down and they voted in a new chairperson for the Republican Party. And now she's become the chairman of the Board of Elections. Now I got that's why I want to give it the director to figure out how they managed to do that, because I mean, to me, it's something underhanded. Because for her to resign as chair, and then they elect a new person in there, and then she ends up being chair of the Board of Elections for Northampton County. I mean, I mean, somebody had a direct contact with the auditor in order for him to do that.
Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You said that this woman that's chair now is chair also of the Republican Party?
Well, she was the prior.
Oh, she was, okay.
Yeah, but she stepped down as chair.
So she
Oh,
stepped
okay.
up.
Yeah, so
She can go there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of underhanded. But right now, she's the chair, white chair, and 2 white Republicans with 2 Democrats, and the 2 black Democrats been on the board for 20 ages, for years and years. In fact, the black lady, she was the chair, but they moved her, they just gave her a seat. But she was one of my recommendations, but I hate to lose her as chair. That this lady where they got in now, I just heard things about her, so I haven't met her yet. Because they had a reception and had to be out of town. I had to be out of town that day. But I'm gonna meet with the director of the Board of Elections, and she gonna give me a breakdown as to what transpired and how this lady is going back. But I don't foresee any problems. But I know that it's probably, I know it's gonna be some changes. Cause see, we also have to, we're in the process of recommending, well, it's not due until August, I believe, recommending precinct chief judges and judges for each precinct. I don't know if you all already got in touch with you all about it or not. But that's one thing that we have to do in the near future. I think in August, because I went to a meeting with the director and which Republicans were represented in the board. And I ended up with a stack of all registered voters in the county. I mean, all 13,000. That she gave me a printout of registered Democrats. I got Democrats and unaffiliated. And if you look at the stack of registered Democrats like this, there's a stack of unregistered, unaffiliated like that. So that's what we have to be aware of, the number of unaffiliated that's going out to vote. See, we're not losing because of lack of Democratic votes. We're losing because of the number of unaffiliated that's going out to vote. See, that's what we got to get that mindset changed around and get those, at least voting the Democratic side.
But anyway,
So like when you look at your county voter registration list, you find out there are more unaffiliated than there are Republicans and are Democrats. And the reason for that is a lot of Democrats don't feel like the party is doing what they should be doing for them, so they go unaffiliated, and then they can vote however they want to vote, and nobody knows. So we got to educate those unaffiliated to try to get them to come back and vote the right way with the Democrats.
Also, what we might be seeing too this week out with the auditor is they're talking to us at every angle about DEI. And if you want to really define DEI with what the auditor just did with his placement, especially for Northampton County, you could say he has discriminated on the basis of party affiliation, because that meant that there possibly were persons of color who were just as factual, just as educated, just as political as this white Republican he put in. So he pulled a DEI discrimination card too. So if you're going to use DEI, well, we're going to have to stay on top of, because you open up a can of worms, and that's a broad, wide range area, then he may even need to define how he does not discriminate on the DEI level.
Yeah, that's true.
And see, we sleep in that one, because if he says, if Trump bill says that, you know, schools and education and different jobs can't select people based on certain criteria, then what happened with this auditor when you already had a fixed slate of well-qualified folks? So he just decided, oh, we can't let Northampton, one of our largest voting counties, have a black person. So you can see that as discrimination and ask him to explain his DEI policy.
But I want to add, most of the time, if it's a Republican chair, say the auditor now, but if it was a Republican governor or Democratic governor, that governor picks the chair.
Right.
So he's going to pick whatever party it is. And right now, the Board of Elections is not even, the board is not even functioning. They are stagnant for 30 days. I think they got a meeting July the 31st.
Yeah.
And that when they officially meet, and at that time, they'll choose the secretary. So you should hope that the secretary be Democrat. That's normally how it be. I know it was in Edgecombe County. We had a black chair, and the Republican was the secretary. It don't have to be that way, but you know, but that's the thing, that everyone who's in charge is the one that picked the chair. So right now you got a chair, but you don't have a functioning board for 30 days. I mean, they can't do anything, because I called my board of elections and asked them about the website, because it still had the old information up there, and that's what he told me. But what we got to do, and always should have been doing, is going to the board of election meetings, be in those meetings. That's where the information is. Be there when they like the early voting and all that kind of stuff. When people don't go to the meeting and ask for nothing, you don't get nothing. At least put some pressure on them. So we gotta attend our board of election meetings.
Yeah.
That's what we gotta do.
If we show up, then we can understand what they're trying to do, and maybe we can stop it some way somehow. But like I said, we gotta show up, because if we don't show up, you know, the other side gonna show up, and they're gonna be knowing exactly what to do, and they can put it out into the community, and we might not know what's going on, but they will.
Miss Erica got her hand up.
Oh, okay. Senator Smith, you see your hand. Everybody's traveling today.
Thank you. Yeah, everybody is trying to get off everybody, but I'm the driver. So, I just wanted to chime in that we are very concerned. Mr. Smith, Ron, thank you for sharing the information, but now that you chair our board of elections, see, you came on the board years ago when he gave our black board director, gave her hell every meeting. So it's important, as Carla said, that Carl, we have to start going to meetings and showing our face, finding out what they are doing. Because we know that they're up to no good and they have been trying to get control for years and years and years. Now that the public is giving it to them, and we have we have to be that vigilant. The other thing that I wanted to share is in response to Mr. Perry's presentation, our elections have come. I am so glad we have a Democratic government who can, veto these bad bills. We have in Northampton County, we were successful in the last election, electing a true Democrat who votes with the Democrats. We had Michael Ray, who's been there for 20 years. He just announced this week that he is going to run to get his seat. Seat is held by Rodney Pierce, who's an active American. Those of us in the congressional district got a chance to meet Rodney. And now Michael Ray just believes in white privilege. I feel like that he believes that the seat belongs to him and that black people are not good enough to represent themselves. But I want them to see. He voted with Trump.
Excuse me, we can't hear back here.
She's breaking it.
You-
To do site and start electing Democrats that we know will not vote for the Democratic Party, will not help sustain the government's veto. So we have to be vigilant across the board, starting with our matches, but looking at people we supporting.
Yes, that's true. And to add to that, how did we get in this situation? How did we get in this situation? And I've got some figures for you. In North Carolina, 1.5 million, there are 1.5 million registered black voters in North Carolina. 1.8 are eligible. So we've got 300,000 that won't even go out and register. Of that number, 1.5 million, 1 million 1,521 people voted in the election. So it's like it's almost just a million people voted, which was 68%. 68% of the black registered people voted. Trump won North Carolina by 183,000 votes. 481,000 black people did not vote, registered. So understand that if we could have gotten half of them out, Trump would not have won North Carolina. I want us to take it as a mission and a goal after our banquet. I want us to start focusing on how do we get our black people out to vote? Because you can see those numbers that Harris did not have to lose North Carolina. That almost 500,000 of our registered black people stayed home and did not come out to vote. So when I can't get mad with Trump, I can disagree with some of the things he's doing, but we allowed this to happen. We allowed it to happen. So we have got to do something to encourage our people again to get out to vote. Betty, scroll down a little. Scroll to the top of that letter. So I to the top. I did check with our local head of social services to find out. Well, let me get to the voting first. So in meetings with other chairs, I would ask them on meetings, how are we doing with our black voter turnout? And most of them would say, hey, we're doing great. We're really getting our people out to vote. Well, I sent you all this after the election, but even I'll start with my count. I I knew we hadn't done a good job. I knew we had. Only 50% of the black registered voters in Washington County voted in November 2024. I'll quickly go down the list of our organization. Beaufort County, 47%. Berkeley County, 49%. Camden, 54%. Carteret, 49%. Shawan, 45%. Craven, 50%. Carrituck, 53%. Dare, your numbers were skewed. It says you had 900 people that went out and vote. The numbers were skewed on Dare. Edgecombe, 52%. Gates, 51%. Greene, 53%. Halifax, a large black county, 43%. Hertford, 48%. Hyde, 36%. Lenore, 50%. Martin, 45%. Northampton, 47%. Pamlico, 55%. Pasquotank, a large county, 46%. Perquimans, 44%. Pitt, 49%. Turl, 39%. So folks, we got to do something to get this out. Again, when I was meeting with these folks and I was saying, how you doing? How's your county coming? And they were, oh, we're doing great. And I knew they weren't. So we have got to again, I would like for our focus to be on that after we get finished with the bandwidth, because we've got municipal elections coming up. We want to make sure that we have people that win these elections. And we've got a candidate here, Betty Selby, who's on the town council, who is now running for mayor of Manteo. So we want Betty to pull this off and get this win. But we have got to elect people whose values, they might be different skin color, but whose values are the same as ours. We've got to do that. And they don't play fair. They don't play fair.
But we do.
Yeah, we try to play fair. They don't play fair. I heard this morning that Texas, the governor in Texas, is going to be calling a special session because they know that this blue wave is coming. He's going to call a special session, and they're going to redraw the lines. And lines are supposed to only be redrawn in after censuses. They're going to redraw the lines and try to get Jasmine Crockett out, and about 5 other Democrats that are in Congress. They're going to try to redraw the lines. They don't play fair, and we try to.
But if you got the power and don't use it, what's the purpose? And when we have the power, we don't use it.
Yes. And what's that saying? You know, it's just so much going on.
But with the municipal elections coming up, people don't get out for municipal elections. We got to find a better way too, because it's only municipality. It ain't statewide elections. So we got to find a better way to get people out.
Yeah. So I'm hoping she can pull up the other email. I sent you 2 emails. I'm hoping she can pull up that other email so you all can see the effects that Medicaid, these Medicaid
That
cuts
bottom of that letter she just had up.
wasn't.
Yeah. She can go back to that letter that she just had up and scroll all the way to the bottom. You know the email he just sent you? Scroll all the way to the bottom.
To the attachment.
Yeah, and it should be down there. You can open it. Is that what you're talking about?
Quick, yeah, go down to the up higher. Okay, so the Medicaid, the effect of these Medicaid cuts in your counties. Let's see.
Make your screen larger, Miss Betty. I'll make your screen larger. You had that.
Berkeley County, 1,186 people are gonna lose their Medicare, Medicaid.
Go back to that thing you was at, Miss Betty. That you had open. That talked about Medicare and SNAP. Yeah, that. Scroll up. But that's what he get his information off of. What page you on?
Okay, well, no, it's another email that I sent her. Camden County, 318 people are going to come off. Shawan, 773. Dare, I thought Dare was rich. 1,300 people are going to come off of Medicaid, going to have their Medicaid cut. Edgecombe, 5,100 people. Gates, 407. Halifax, 3,600 people. Hyde, 240. That's not too bad. Lenore, 4,684 people. Northampton, 1,153 people. Pasquotank, 2,322. Perquimans, 674. Pitt, 11,700. Turl, 170. Washington, 828. Now, with these cuts are going to come not only the ability to get health care, but also they've not said anything about our hospital in Washington County. Our hospital, 60% of Washington County residents, we only have 10,000 people. 6,000 people in Washington County are on Medicaid. Our hospital, we talk about it, but it's going to close. When these cuts occur, that hospital's going to close. And then with Martin now in question of if that gets through, then that means longer waits in the emergency room. It means people dying.
Yes, it does.
What was Martin County's numbers?
Martin was 1,461.
1,000.
461.
So Bertie was what?
Oops. Bertie is 1,186. So in getting these numbers, I checked with our Department of Social Services, and I asked him, could he give me some information? So in Washington County, there are 683 individuals that receive SNAP benefits. So SNAP benefits are going to be cut. And 4,725 receive Medicaid benefits. So folks, again, let me say, Washington County's population is 10,000. So I am concerned and feel powerless of what's going to be happening to our people, because many of us in this room are in a situation where this isn't going to hurt us, but it's going to hurt our community. It's going to hurt our community. And the sad thing is our community has no idea what's coming. So we have got to get our people's interests up, and I just don't know how we're going to do it.
We got to go from these counters and let them know, because ain't nobody telling folks. That's where we come into play. And on top of that, I think the NAACP is me, in national convention. One of the guys posted last night that unemployment rate has risen in 93 counties. And again, my county, Edgecombe County, leading the way. So unemployment is 93 counties.
And for those of us that this isn't going to affect us, it is because they say interest rates are going to go up.
Now, we are not a billionaire, it's gonna affect us.
Right.
And there aren't any billionaires, say not enough in East County.
Right.
The SNAP program, that's what troubled me more than anything else. We fought in the school system for free and reduced lunch. A lot of county kids are even, I don't care what the family status, economic status, or they were getting free lunch. That's all going away. It has to go, but the SNAP is going away. I met with community group from UNC Chapel Hill program, gardening, and they had a small grant, and I'm dealing with 5 years, a little bit less than $2 million, but their program is gone. The SNAP go, they go. So a lot of these food pantries that we see around, helping families out, we in trouble. I looked at Wake County School Board, that week before last, they said, they're doing the budget, said that breakfast, it was $2.25 per child, and lunch is $4 per child. Now, what family can afford 30 after-tax dollars plus per week, so the kids can eat lunch? We much deeper curls and so on the surface, right?
Yes. And see, Wake County can afford, they can afford to add a penny tax and take care of that. These rural counties where we are can't afford to supplement that. It's.
And the problem with that is if a child is hungry, a child does not learn. I mean, and right now, even with the lunches, even the free and reduced, we still have kids who are hungry. A lot of us as teachers, there are guidelines and certain things you're not supposed to do, but you can't have a kid in class and the kid comes in and says, "Miss Smith, do you have a snack?" When they want a snack, they're willing to take an apple. They're willing to take a fruit cup or anything. Already in the mornings, we got a lot of kids who are hungry. Before lunchtime, it just breaks your heart. I mean, I think in the mornings I take my lunch to school and end up not having lunch because some child said, "Listen, if you got anything that I can eat, I don't feel good. Can I please have that juice on your desk? It may have come from the cafeteria or something." But I mean, and I'm like, We're headed for destruction now. But I will say this, God always provides for his people. And he's never seen the righteous forsaken. So as long as we set our dedication to doing the right thing, like you said, Mr. Stokes, God will provide. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but he will provide.
Amen. Amen.
But you know, the sad part is like they got us putting out all them ads about the congressman. He gonna spend $2 million of his own money. Now look at what they could do for a community. It's sad.
Mhm.
$2 million to run against of his own.
But he did that for the mayor position in Rocky Mountain.
Mhm.
For a mayor position now, $2 million.
Any other comments or questions? All right, next, and we have a 2-hour time limit on our meetings, and we are quickly approaching. I'm going to ask Mavis if she will give us a quick report, financial report, and then we won't, not unless there's burning new business, we won't tackle any new business, and we'll finish up by discussing our banquet next month.
The only deposits, there's not been any additional deposits or, withdrawals other than, I think we had one check that was, well, no, not since last month. There were no deposits or withdrawal. And Mr. Dancy just gave me $200 in ads since the since last month, we deposited.
And there's another $50 going back.
Oh, okay.
So
There's
with
another one, too.
Okay.
Betty, when is our drop dead deadline for the ads and money is what, that last week in July?
Last week in July.
Okay, okay,
I mean,
okay.
But now on the thing on the form it says 15, right?
Yeah,
So we just
Yeah,
encourage
form
people
said
that can still fit in money.
and for a table, if you want to buy a table of 6 on the back, it's $200.
Like the chair.
Oh, sir. This is your
Okay. But this is the air here.
4 pages. And that's $50.
Right.
She said just type it up right there.
Right now, we're running it probably about 15 ads.
so tickets, and you all get those tickets. The tickets are $40,
I have some today.
and it's a fundraiser, folks. So don't fuss about the $40. You're gonna get a delicious meal, and you're going to hear from Anita Earl, and we're gonna have the graduates. There are 8 graduates who got our scholarship. I will ask Mr. Matthews to quickly say something about those applicants. I know I just called on you, but you read them all. You and Miss Smith.
Yes, all the applicants were extraordinary. Extraordinary to the point where I don't ever want to be on that committee to have to make a choice. And I'm being serious about that. It's it really tells me that we're in a good posture for the future in terms of our young people. We just continue to support them in any manner we can. Thank you.
Okay. All right, and Mavis will send the executive committee. She sent it to me. I'll send it to you all. The budget for the banquet. I'll send that to you, to all of you. Is it anything else that we might? Okay, Ms. Matthews.
I would like everyone to know that next Saturday, right here at the African American Museum, we being the Black Borders Matter, having the 6th graders. I'm looking to bring in 6th graders. President Stokes talked about what can we do. Well, we feel that if we go to the 6th graders, you know that old saying, a horse from the wild will be led by a child. So we looking at that premise, we'll try to get sixth graders in, to have a kitchen conversation. We start at noontime, we're gonna have sort of like a pizza bring pizzas in and see what's on their mind. Our Eastern leader for Black Voters Matter, Saeed Jasmine, said he will be in to help bring in some information and democracy and see we working with them. Lucas, see what we can bring in and just educate these young people on what we think their responsibilities are at their age, and try to get some clear understanding on what they think about how we can help.
What time is that?
Starts at 12 noon, from noon till 3 o'clock next Saturday.
Next Saturday here.
Right here.
Okay. Okay.
All
right.
I have an announcement.
And make sure you tell Saeed and Lewis I sent them ads. The form for the ads. Tell them they hadn't gotten them in yet.
Sign is looking at trying to get a table.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
And make sure I get the information so I can get it out about the meeting next Saturday.
Okay. Ms. Hill?
The Ryan Rowson basketball camp will take place this year at Terrell High School, and it will be July 24th and 25th. They're still taking applications at the current time. The morning session is 2 days. Morning session will be for the youth ages, I believe it starts at 5 or 6 years old, up to 8th grade, and then 9th through 12th grade will be in the afternoons. Lunch will be provided both days by Terrell County CDC. Health Department will be there on Friday, and Terrell County CDC will be doing a civic engagement piece on both days and giving away gift cards for all the high school students that registered to attend.
Any other announcements?
The Liberation Day is back in Rich Square today. It runs to 3 o'clock.
Are you gonna be able to get to any of it?
Get to that.
Okay. All right. If there's no other, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So
I have tickets over here, if anybody will buy one.
Been moved and properly second. All those in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Do you have this?
Yeah.
Let me check.
yeah.
Okay.
You see, I know I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it a day I can read it? Oh, you got a picture of it all.
I thought they had two.
Oh, okay.
Let me check.
Okay. Dancing. So you finished up vacation Bible school this week? Y'all have a good turnout?
Yeah, we had a good turnout. We had for the whole we told our Friday night we had 200 some people.
21.
First night it started out from 59, 49, 56, 49, was some people came home. 30 of them was kids.
Yeah, that would be a good, that's about all we got. That's pretty good.
All right.
All right. Now let me know how it goes.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? Mr. Carl, how are you?
Fine, how you doing?
Wonderful. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. If y'all ain't too busy, I told you us captains of our high school now having a cookout next Saturday from 2 to 5.
Okay,
At RL.
I get you.
Y'all welcome to come.
Put it in your calendar.
But I have a mixture.
Ooh, what kind of big people we got?
About 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm gonna come to your house.
Okay, well, I'm gonna run home. Where's the cookout? CS1.
RL Band in a high school. Where the old high school fairground used to be. Like you used to go back to the high school fairground. But I seen you there.
Okay.
I seen that there too. I have my brother there.
And that's 12 to 3.
No, it's from 2 to 5.
Okay.
But you can come anytime, and we're gonna be there at 7 up.
Don't forget the laws.
That's not, I'm going
I sent that picture to Betty.
Okay.
Okay, I paid her for the ad.
Okay. Thank y'all so much.
But I took
Thank
care
you.
of it.
Is you all's convention this week?
What we've got is one of our elderly pastors died. They've got her funeral today.
I know Mary told me
That's what
she's
they got
doing.
her funeral.
But I'm talking about commission.
How you doing?
It's all right.
The NACO convention. That's what Tracy's at, the NACO convention, the National Association.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Yes, y'all gonna put in his place.
Mr. Matthews, call.
You're right.
Because that's what we need. We got to
So we're gonna have to get one of those.
We got to be supposed in order to get see.
Yeah, okay, you all take care.
Take care. Thank you, Mr. Walker.
All right. See you, bro.
Maybe.
No, I left it.
Yeah.
I might have one.
Yeah.
Create this one also.
Well, so I get back there.
Okay, thank you.
It's August.
No.
Yeah. Let me see what Kate, let's see if she wants.
6 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
I'm glad. Let's see what she wants.
Okay.
Sometimes you will, certain things, sometimes you won't. And that's not negative. Don't take that long. No.
Because I'm sure she goes to some things that you say no and no.
I don't go to her, not so long.
What?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that right.
Don't go changing none of that.
Yeah. Okay, y'all take care. Good Friday. Report on your back, though.
I should have.
That's all right. Not to walk around.
Yes, sir. Good to see you again.
5, 3. I got 6:40 today. Who we need to?
It's Brown. I'm going to write it to the museum one time.
Oh, that's right. Well, if you don't want to do it out of your head, I got to come back Monday. Either way, I got to come back Monday.
I'd rather
Go ahead and do it.
everything.
Which way you want to do it?
Today.
Oh, you want to do it that? Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'll rush out.
Miss Brown.
Uh-huh.
We want to take the magic.
So that is.
To the museum.
Yeah, right. Look, I ain't going today. How much?
50.
You don't look good in orange.
No,
Not jumpsuits anyway.
You've been free too long.
Mayor,
I ain't doing it, you know, my.
Well,
I'm from Stockton, SHO, used to be Harris. So I got my bus license under many years.
What county?
I'm from Columbia, but I just live in. You got any, basketball court over
Okay.
there?
Yeah.
I was back in. The camp is free, Mr. Matthews.
Where the camp gonna be?
And Turl County, at the high school.
that age limit is what?
They're taking 5 up to what grade?
Okay.
We'll pass the word. And that's on the 24th and 25th.
24th, 25th, thank you. I'll call down and we feed them very well. They get pizza one day, we got hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah,
They got to travel to and fro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no room.
Oh, unless we can figure